Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, and if you are new, welcome to my channel. My name is Ella. So today I'm kind of starting one video of like several. I've had this idea to make these videos honestly since I started this YouTube channel, and it's something that I know others have felt. And so I feel like it's important to talk about, especially if you are someone that might need to hear it. So I guess I'm gonna kind of call these like the Healing Chronicles. But yeah, basically the first part is going to be mourning your mentally ill self or mourning your sick self. And I feel like it's something that people don't talk about a lot because it's kind of a delicate and kind of, I don't know the right word, not taboo, but like, it's a subject that I feel like a lot of people don't talk about. And it's also very easy to feel alone in that process, because it is part of the process of healing and becoming the better version of yourself for yourself. I think that mourning period is really important, but it's difficult because I think it's not healthy to jump from one extreme to the other without doing the work in the middle. So if you were to be like mentally ill, or struggling with your mental health and immediately being like, I'm not going to be like this anymore, I'm going to be happy, that's not sustainable at all. Before you know it, you're going to be back to where you were. And I know because I have been through that. I struggled with pretty severe mental illness for like 6-7 years. And then an eating disorder for a couple years as well. And both of those are very difficult to separate from your identity, I feel like. At least for me it was. I know it was really hard to not tell myself I'm just the mentally ill girl. I don't know who I am if I'm not mentally ill. I don't know who I am if I'm not harming myself. I don't know who I am if I'm not trying not to be on this planet anymore. I don't know who I am if I'm not constantly being watched. I don't know who I am if I'm not in and out of the hospital. Like, that's not how it should be. But I was so used to that, and I felt so safe in that place that it was scary to think about that not being a part of me and that not being part of my identity, because for so long it was my identity. Like, I think I first started struggling with my mental health, and I don't know what I can say on TikTok. I don't know what I can say on YouTube. I first started taking my emotions out on myself, I guess I would say. When I was 11, I was struggling a lot with my health issues and feeling very different from everyone else. And I didn't really know how to cope through that. And I think I ended up telling my mom, like, she saw, and then I don't know, I just kind of talked to my parents about it, and it got better. And then in middle school, and then my freshman year of high school was when it got really bad again, like really bad. And from probably my freshman year of high school, which was probably like 2018, 2019, around then, to 2022, I was heavily struggling. Like I said, in and out of the hospital, taking it out on myself, being not great to my family and my friends, and scaring them and putting them through things that I wish I never would have. But also, when you're in that place, it's hard to think straight. And so once I was able to get away from that place, it took many, 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 many years, but once I was able to get away from that place and start to heal, I realized I was still having, those voices being like, I want to go back to how I was. That's where I feel safe. That's where I feel comfortable. This isn't comfortable. This isn't safe, healing. And it's not. And it's not supposed to be. But that's what healing is. And so once I was able to finally get through that point, there was one day that I just was like, I don't want to do that anymore. I don't want to be like that. I want to live life. I want to feel alive. I want to enjoy everything, not take it for granted. Enjoy the little things. And that voice was still there, but it took practice and it took hard work to push that voice down to where it was just, to where it was just an urge, not something I would actually act on, or it was just a thought, until it was just a passing thought, until it was just a little whisper in the back of my head. And that's where I am now. And I promise you, so I don't want to get emotional, but I promise you that you can get through it. It's hard. Healing is really hard. And it's hard to mourn your old self and not go back to that, especially when that was your safety, that was all that you knew. But then being where I am now, grateful to be alive and grateful for myself and all that I made it through, I don't hear that voice anymore. I can mourn my old self and be grateful for my new self and for the life that I have now. And that was something that I feel like, wasn't talked about a lot, is when your mental health and when trying not to be on this planet anymore and hurting yourself was your whole identity and being in and out of the hospital. People more so talk about eating disorders and how that's harder, to separate. And it is, and that is something I'm going to talk about, but my mental health and not wanting to be here was such a big part of my life for so long, and it's something that I truly did not think I was going to get through. And so to be here, to be sitting here right now talking to you guys, almost 23, when I swore I wouldn't make it past 16, is a pretty big accomplishment. And so I know I used to cry on my birthday. Every year I used to sob that I made it to another birthday. But now I think this birthday I might cry because I'm here. And I'm grateful that I'm here. And I'm grateful that this last year has been transformative for me. And I'm even more grateful for the people that I have gained and lost, because it truly made me a better person. And everything that I went through, I feel like shaped me to who I am today. And like I said, even though it felt like I was in hell, I am so grateful that I made it through. And I know that you can make it through too. It's not easy. It's painful and it's really hard, but you can hold on. I believe in you, and I promise you it gets better. And I'm here for each and every single one of you. I have my social medias and stuff in my description down below. If any of you ever need to talk, I am here, because it does get better, and it can get better, and you can have a beautiful, fulfilling life. Sorry, I did not think I was going to get emotional. But the other thing that I wanted to add is it's, the eating disorder thing and separating your identity from that. That is very hard. That's very hard to let go of, your ED, especially when you become so attached to it and so connected and find so much comfort in it and peace and safety. Because I know this is what's always said when it comes to it, but it's true. I wanted some form of control over my life. I wanted to feel like I could control something in my life. I felt like I had no control over my mental health, no control over my physical health. I felt like I did not belong here. I felt like an alien on this planet. And so I felt like the only thing I could control was my eating. And I remember when I went to residential treatment, I had a really hard time letting go of that part of me and separating it from my identity and my personality. Because, again, like I was with my mental health, I kind of was like, I don't know who I am if I'm not struggling with my eating. I don't know who I am if I'm not getting complimented. Like, but that's not healthy or sustainable. I was going down a path where my heart was going to give out on me, where my body was going to give out on me. It's not, it again gives you the false sense of safety and security and comfort, and it's a facade. It's fake. It's not real. It's almost like, I don't know what other way to describe it besides, a little friend who acts like they have the best interest for you, but doesn't. Your AD does not have your best interest at heart. It doesn't. And if you really stop and listen to it, you're gonna be like, why am I thinking like this? I know what my body needs to stay alive. I know my body needs to stay functional, but it's hard because you hear that little voice and you're like, oh no, like I need to listen to that while you're slowly dying. And I will say I've had a very difficult time. I've been in recovery for the last few years. I've had some relapses here and there, but it's difficult. It's difficult because, especially when you're in a place that you're feeling better and you can feel better, but then you find yourself thinking things that will make you feel worse or will take everything you've accomplished and throw it down the drain. And so the amount of times I've had to stop and think to myself, is that really worth throwing everything that I've worked for away? Is that really worth throwing all the trust that I have built back up with my family away? Is it really worth it? And it's not. It's not. Like, and I feel like that maybe sounds harsh, but like, I'm also telling myself, like, it's not worth it. It's not worth it to go back to whatever dark place you were in because it was comfortable. It's not worth it. And I feel like that's something that like I had to learn, and also I learned in other aspects of my life. I remember my swim coach in high school. She told me, get comfortable being uncomfortable. And that stuck with me, and it still is right there in my brain. Anytime I'm afraid to do something, anytime I'm about to do something uncomfortable, get comfortable being uncomfortable. Because that's the only way to grow. That's the only way to heal. That's the only way to flourish in life, is to get comfortable being uncomfortable. Be uncomfortable. Be scared. Be afraid. Do it anyway. Do it anyway. That's the only way that you can break down those voices, those thoughts, those urges, those barricades that you think you have. That's the only way to break those down and show it that you are stronger than your mental illness. You are stronger than your thoughts. You are stronger than, your urges. And you are supposed to be here, and you are here for a reason. And I don't know. I'm so grateful that I am where I am today. And like I said, I kind of want to make this a whole chronicle thing, because it was a major part of my life. But it's something that I can also now say that was a part of my life. But it's not anymore. It's just, I truly want you to know that healing is not supposed to be easy. It's not supposed to be easy. It's not supposed to be comfortable. It's not supposed to feel safe. But you will get to a point where it feels safe, and it feels comfortable, and it feels good to be in the place that you're in, and you feel alive, and you feel happy. Like, I promise that you will get there. I promise. Just take a breath, wait till the next moment, and don't act on anything drastic. That's the other thing I would say. If you have an urge, if you have a negative thought, sit with it for 5-10 minutes, or try to change your thinking, but sit with it and think about why you might be thinking that, why you're feeling that, and if it's something you actually want to do or if it's just the little voice in your head. And also think, does it serve me? Does it serve my soul? Does it serve my higher purpose? Is this going to make me a better person? If not, sit with it until it passes. But I promise you all, you are so much stronger than you think, and you are capable of so much. And again, if any of you ever need to talk, my DMs are always open. But yeah, thank you so much for being here. I'm so grateful that you are here right now and on this planet watching this video, and taking the time to listen to me. So thank you so much. And I hope you all have a beautiful, beautiful day. Bye.